I'm demonstrating something that I come across, how these gnat things, or whatever they are, respond to sound and tone. Watch. Ah! Nothing, right? Now watch. Ooh! They scatter. And now they're coming back together. Woo! Woo! And see, now what they're doing with that sound is they're taking a side step right. It's kind of interesting. Let them get grouped up. Woo! Woo! Yeah, I don't know what kind of bugs these are. I was just wanting to demonstrate. It's a really poor quality video, and you're seeing all my stuff, but they're right here, so I just wanted to record. Can you still see them? Let me back up. Okay, now they're just kind of going everywhere. But yeah, I just wanted to show you something neat. I don't know if, that's something that everybody knows already, but it was something that I came across one time just out in the wilderness, just a big swarm of those little gnat things. And I don't know, I was, feeling joy and decided I'd tone, just, nobody was watching. And, that's what I discovered. I was like, look at this. These little gnats are responding to that. And I was like, well, shoot, maybe we don't need all those poisons and foggers and stuff. Maybe just, I don't know, play Beethoven or something. Because it seemed like the sound kind of confused them, the woo, it just kind of like, hey, wait, where, and it was like they forgot that they were swarming. Not sure, but I'm sure eventually it'll work into one of these lessons, because it always does. It's like little things like this. Like, I'll be sitting and then I'll be like, you remember that time? And that brings up a time when I fell at work, ended up with amnesia for 3 months. I was going to EMT school, and Tuesdays and Thursdays, I think it was. And the funny thing is when I fell, that and the fact I had a date with a dude named Red on Friday. Those were the only things I remembered. I couldn't remember my name, what street I was on. But even in that was already brought up as a learning tool. And like that time, in that time that the amnesia was brought up, was the fact that, I would look at the people around me. I couldn't remember their name, couldn't remember what they drove. I couldn't even tell you anything about their history. Any history we had together. All I had was something, it was in here, it was warm. And it was telling me, I love this person. And they're my uncle, or, they're my mom, my aunt. It was that kind of, and that's all I had to go by, was just the love I felt for that person. And so that was a really interesting 3 months. And no, I never did meet up with a guy red on Friday. I don't know. But somehow or another, I seem to do really well on them EMT tests and whatnot. I had trouble comprehending and couldn't remember. I'd read a paragraph and I couldn't tell you for the life of me what the paragraph was saying. But somehow or another, I was making 94s and 96s on the tests. We'd all be outside smoking, at the class, after class or during class, taking a break. Somebody come up to me, "Hey, what'd you put for number 5? Like, what? Number 5? Yeah, number 5. Yeah, a test we just took. I'm like, what? Was I in there? Was I taking a test too? I don't know. What to say? But somehow I managed. But toward the end, things kind of went haywire with the finances, and I never became an EMT. And I felt kind of bummed at that time, but everything has a reason, and I guess that wasn't it, for me. But it was an adventure, learning and whatnot. But I ended up, falling at work and getting amnesia, and it came to me, in a lesson that I was learning, and I was asking God. I was like, okay, so here, you're saying that we're all light, we're this radiant orb of just God light, and we look like we're like this, but we're not. We're everywhere, It's like, for the human mind, it's a little bit to wrap around. So, God, uses everything that I've ever experienced or to help me understand, and that she was showing me the simplicity of, going to the light, and, that simplistic, get away from all the garbage and boulders, and the root of all, is knowing who we are, knowing who each of us are. And in this vision that she was showing me was, okay, well, remember that time where everybody was sitting on the couch, you just came back, you had a bump on your head and couldn't remember your name, and I'm like, yeah. And she's showing me everybody sitting on the couch in front of me, like 5 or 7 different people. And it was like, remember how you didn't know any of them? You felt that you knew them, they were familiar, but you couldn't recall anything. Well, that's the way you're supposed to be, Don't remember all the baggage. Don't remember all the garbage. Concentrate on that feeling. And when I did, I saw everybody, just a light growing from here, just kind of growing and growing until, it was bigger than that person, starting in the chest. It got all consuming to where it was just 7 lights sitting there. And then the mother says, that is how I see you. Love, light, my child, my children. So I thought that was pretty cool, and that's the way, it happens. Just staying plugged in. It's amazing. It's, you're learning, you're toddling. Come to me as children. What's that mean to you? What I've been shown is, think about it when you were small, the simpleness, you weren't burdened with work. You weren't burdened with bills. You know, you woke up in the morning, cartoons, or just that simple, just innocent. Everybody's looking for the fountain of youth. And it seemed like, when I got rid of all my stuff and moved into my Forerunner, I had a sudden awareness come over me, and it reflected back to the fountain of youth. Because I had a moment to where I was like, wow, I don't have any rent. I don't have a car payment, and it was just like, wow, it feels like I'm 18 again. And God's like, well, who said the fountain of youth had to do with a puddle? It's all consciousness. And, well, 6 months ago, working in that factory, I couldn't hardly touch my toes. And when I did, I groaned or something popped. And yoga was a whisper across my mind for many years. I even went to like a yoga instructor class, but I ended up seeing an opening and going elsewhere with my life. I was trying to run away from a relationship, and so, an opening, and so I ran, and, well, it was worked out for the best. The one pursuing, kind of, everything worked out. But, so it was like that, little yoga things, I even bought a book. I had a guide that, it was around Christmas time while I was doing the Course in Miracles, toward the end of that year. I had a guide that came forward that was an Indian, and I was like, an Indian, and so it was like, I didn't really pay attention to it, because I was in the headspace with God. I was in our special little spot where, safe, safe word, and just perfect, and it was like this little something's over here going, yeah, and it was like whatever God was, saying to me, he was over here also listening, going, yeah, and I was like, God, wait a minute, is that the ego? What's going on over, what? And I had been asking, it's like, how do I find the kingdom? How do I, ascend to the upper room? And, all these things. And, I was doing the forgiveness work and all that, but I was so tense and twisted and compact after work that I was paying more attention to the pain and the stiffness than what I was supposed to be learning, And so this guide steps forward, and he told me his name, and I was like, oh, that's nice, and I kind of backed away because, you just, want to be careful. And I was like, well, God, what's going on here? And she's like, listen to him. You want to find the upper room. You want to do these things. You can't bring the baggage with you. You got to drop the rocks to where you can ascend. I was like, ah. And so it was like, while she was saying that, this guide was, saying, okay, well, lean your head like this. You feel that tension. And, it was like bringing my attention to, a tightness, going through, this muscle group. And, it's like, okay, well, where do you feel it? Stretch it out, breathe through it. And I'm like, all doing all these bendy kind of, wow, breathe through it. And then before I knew it, I was relaxed. The pain was gone. And I was ascending, And I had, a couple experiences with that, my spirit, leaving my body. I was conscious, just like talking to you, a little more dazed looking, but, just because I was more in than out, but the journey is individualized, And at first I was like, oh, well, these words, these lessons and whatnot are all just meant for me. But then I thought, wow, this is just some really high information, Maybe I could reach to, people out there and spread the information that they're sharing with me. Because I'm a part of you and you're a part of me. And we are all a part of God. And that's the truth of God. And so all I want to do is be of benefit, of service, and possibly, be that seed someone might need, that idea that helps another brother or sister to have the courage to step through self-doubt, surrender it all to God, lead out with the right foot, and turn your will over. Say, yes, God, your will is my will is your will. Show me the way home. And she'll say, you're home. But even in that, each day, like a banana peel, you peel one more layer or, skin of an onion, And the more you peel off, the brighter you are. Let your love light shine. And the more you shine, it seems like the knowing just happens, and everybody's like, oh, it's a lottery tickets, but I don't know. Experiencing the way I'm experiencing Christ consciousness it's beyond the lottery tickets. It's like I see the patterns, I see the players, I see the game. It's like, you know what? Like a long game of Monopoly, to where, the bankers done went crooked, and, people were pocketing, the houses, or, they done flicked your dog off the board. It's like, you know what? I'm done. I'm not playing no more. I see where this is going, and I'm good. I'll learn the easy way. Thank you. And I guess that's, what I've done. And it's like each day is better than the one before it in a lot of ways. I don't know, just through, connecting, it's like connect to all of us. I got this creepy little something something climbing on my arm. I don't know if he's creepy. I just felt little legs on my right side. And it was my right shoulder once again. So, yeah. It's funny how those things kind of happen. And nose again, right? Well, I hope that sitting here listening to me, gave you a few minutes to sit back and breathe, And that was another thing I was getting to about the Forerunner is, since living in there, and squatting in the woods, it's like God brought yoga to me, the tight, confined space, you got to bend and twist and I feel better. I feel more grounded. I feel lighter, and honestly, I don't think I've smiled this much in my life. Well, this one that I can think of. I remember, the relationships, the honeymoon phase, I'd smile a lot. And then after, I was the honeymoon is over. And then there you are. But yeah, this has been an awesome journey, and I encourage anyone, everyone, don't be afraid. God's holding your hand, holding you. And remember, we got to ask. A lot of folks are like, oh, well, God knows what I'm going through. He sees it. He knows everything. I don't have to ask him. Yeah, you do. It's called free will. And we do have to ask. And we just got to learn how to ask. That, is a lot of, issues with me. I'd pray and beg, and, it's like, why don't you hear me? And after I got it out, and cried, after that I'd hear a small voice, okay, well, you feel better, you get it out. So what's really going on? Your feelings hurt, and that's when, when the growth happens. And when you realize that you are not alone. None of us are. Not even the loneliest of loneliest folks. You are not alone. Your guides are there. Your loved ones are there. Even if you're an orphan, you don't remember. And just feel the love in your heart. And if you're not sure, just imagine the most purest love, in the center of your chest, in your heart, and it growing and growing. And ask, what's that feel like? What's it feel like to have the warm glow of God's light, our soul shining brightly? What's that feel like? Show me, God. And be honest, and she'll be there. He'll be there. Source will be there. Thank you. And have a blessed day.